hunting just as much as wolves and feral cats. And 2, binging bamboo all day means
I would have to say, being a hillbilly that grew up running around the woods, one of the biggest things that I'm surprised I didn't see more of were bears. And that could have been because I was loud and obnoxious. Hey guys, listen to this. You know, just run around like a fucking idiot, screaming and
helped.
throwing shit and breaking shit and doing all kinds of stuff we shouldn't have been doing, including inhaling certain substances at a time we shouldn't have been. But
all right,
we were lucky that we didn't encounter any bears, because as much as my dad has gone to war with the bears to the point of...
Well, I thought you were just going to leave it at that.
No.
That is also true.
My dad has gone to war with the bears to the point of setting an electric fence connected to his metal trash can lid.
My mom's having a major issue with them right now, and they're like right by her car. She like goes to try to crank her car in the mornings, and there's
Bears.
a bear. I saw a few bears as a kid, but like I was always inside watching them in my yard. Like, oh shit, I'm so glad I'm not outside right now. But I was never like outside and stumbled upon one. But my dad like prepped me for that. Like, this is what you do if you encounter a rattlesnake or you hear one, or this is what you do if a bear tries to come near you.
Well, first what you do is you use telekinesis on it, like this right here. The next thing you do is you just try to sweat from your privates and your armpits as hard as you can, because they can smell it and they know if you're an alpha male or an alpha female, and they'll run like hell.
No, listen, there was one time
That's my rule.
that I was like in the back of a truck. Like, we had gone to this, there's like this place where there's like a bunch of stairs and you can see a bunch of different states. And so it's in the middle of nowhere, and I was in the back of the truck. Well, on the way out, there was a bear, and it was like, hey, hey guys, I'm just gonna follow your truck. And I'm like beating on the back of the truck, like, speed up! It's coming after us! It's gonna get me! And my dad's like, it's fine. It's not gonna do anything. And I'm like, freaking the fuck out. It's actively like following
After you, yeah.
And eventually, like, it fucked off. But like a good 500 yards.
Yeah.
That it was just like, I'm coming. And I was like, there's nothing I can do.
I'm burning for you.
It's very scary.
Yeah. Sounds scary. I don't fuck with bears. My only encounter with bear, like actually one-on-one, mano a mano, it was the middle of the night, and I was trying to meet somebody, and this person was coming to my place late to deliver something to me, and I was walking around town waiting for this person. And I was in the mid. Yes. And I had already taken NyQuil to try and go to sleep, which was not working. I think I was manic. I had bipolar disorder, so I was probably manic, just like I couldn't sleep, right? And this person was supposed to bring me something to aid me into my slumber. And so I was thinking...
I don't recommend any of this.
No.
Don't do this.
I mean, it was the marijuana leaves, just so you're wondering. It's nothing crazy. And... the fucking bear was just right there on Main Street. Just like right
Black
there.
Bear.
Yeah. And of course, I had taken this NyQuil about an hour before this.
Is this really happening?
I was like, no way, in the middle of
You're
fucking
tripping
town.
on NyQuil.
And it was like Main Street too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's gonna be a car coming. There's gonna be a car coming.
there wasn't,
Please,
was there?
God, let it be. It was the guy who was rolling out there to meet me. Finally came by, and the bear was crossing the street over to the side that I was on when the car came, and then he turned around and ran off. And the dude even saw it. was like, "Do you see that bear?" I was like, "Fucking yes, I saw the bear."
The shit
I've been
in my
sitting
pants says yes.
I'm like, dude, I started playing music on my phone.
You gotta be loud.
And was like backpedaling. I wouldn't turn around.
Yeah.
Like I kept eyes on this motherfucker, but I was just like, dude, please, if at any point in my life where I can just be tripping and this is something that's not happening, we'll deal with the ramifications of what that means later. Right now, don't let this be a fucking bear. Like, dumbass mauled on Main Street. Like, am I gonna be the guy that gets killed by a bear attack in the middle of fucking town?
Could have been if your friend had been later.
Could have been.
It happens in Gatlinburg all the time.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, there's not a lot of area for the bears.
Well, and
but
I'm
they
sure the
also
fires
are
that
like-
happened there didn't help.
And
you
they're
know.
also like, trash.
People,
yeah.
smells. Oh my God, all this sugary stuff in the air.
Yep.
Wiggling noses. You know, their noses wiggle like crazy. Like bears, schnozzes. Like you think dogs are bad, like moving their nose around. Bears kind of look like an elephant or an anteater. Like they can move their fucking noses like
There's
crazy.
this movie that I watched, and I cannot. Hey, maybe ChatGPT can help me on this, but
Maybe.
I cannot figure out what it was. It was this movie, and there were bears, and this cave, and it was like this tragic story. And maybe I'm getting these two mixed up, but I think that the kid time traveled. I don't know, but I remember that. And there were like people who like, you know, worked with bears, who like grew up training the bears, who worked on the film. I don't know. I can't think.
I don't know
of it.
what the fuck you're talking
Maybe
about.
y'all know.
Maybe y'all know. The internet sleuths out there, do your thing.
I think it was a brown bear, grizzly bear.
We've been hibernating for a while and haven't watched any Casual Geographic, so we just grabbed one that caught our interest from the lot of those that we have not reacted to, and Nikki picked this one. It's every bear and its chances of retiring from life.
I saw a video the other day, and I was like, oh man, I like forget that this bear is a bear.
It's a bear.
Not a
The sun
koala
bear?
bear. A panda bear.
Panda bear, yeah.
I think that I would be like, oh, this big, cuddly, cute thing.
That will
and that
fuck
thing
you
would
up, dude.
kill me.
Yeah, it's still a bear.
Just like a killer whale, like when I was a kid. I watched.
But let's find out where it ranks. Where do you think it is on the list? I think it's probably relatively low. Maybe
Yeah.
lower middle of the list.
Like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's check this out.
It's scientifically proven that one of the best ways to see how a guy's mind works, to really see what type of person you're dealing with, ask one question. What's the biggest animal you can beat in a fight? You ask that and you'll learn a whole lot in a short time. And in 2021, British firm YouGov did a survey. There's a lot to unpack here, but mostly the 6% of Americans that think they could handle a grizzly without getting their existence
chimpanzee?
abolished.
What the hell?
Do you think you could beat a chimpanzee?
And that's how long it would take. Bears are inevitable
Literally
enough to be
that
one of the
long.
few animals I have a one-shot rule against. As in, if they're coming at me full force and I have one shot in the chamber, I'm using it to self-medicate my exit off the mortal coil. I might not survive a hippo attack, but I'm for sure not surviving my reaction to one. I'll same-day ship myself to the lowest
Ew.
door before I let a chimp handle me, and I'll self-subtract with the quickness before a bear makes me part of its business. Bears are the most conceptually inconsiderate creatures in nature. Basically a giant unhinged dog with every possible
That
attribute
poor
maxed.
fish.
Think about it. Nature dropped an
Look at
apex
that,
all-terrain
dude.
CrossFit predator that can out everything you and just let the rest of the population deal with it.
God.
But what's the most dangerous bear actually? Well,
These people
today
are
we're going to be talking
stupid.
about every breed of bear and its chances of putting you on a shirt. Each bear will get a Merc rating. Merc standing for might eviscerate, ravage, or just cancel you. Yeah, that's definitely the K word that was supposed to be there. And as always, each rating will be in my very biased opinion. But yeah, call me Joe Rogan or Grinder Gladiator. Either way, we are
Grindr
going down the bear
Gladiator?
hole.
What?
Starting with the sun bear, named after the thing he spent way too long looking at.
Look at
Those
his
eyes stared
teeth.
at the void and the void blinked first. And yes, they're built like they barely qualify to be here. He looks like a
Bottom of
bear
the
with crippling
list, yeah.
social anxiety that got told to act natural. They were recently involved in a controversy in China. The controversy was nobody believed that wasn't a man in costume. To be fair, they're easily the least coated Ursus out there. They're the smallest in the world at no heavier than $140. And be honest, how long would it take for you to guess that foot was attached to a grizzly's cousin? Those bare feet help them climb trees, and some bears are the most tree climby of them all. But how dangerous is this identity crisis? Well, they're shy, reclusive, and mostly eat fruits and plants. They're also trigger happy, nearly blind, and they share real estate with tigers. Sun bears are known to attack people when caught off guard, and their poor eyesight means they can easily get jump scared by humans. They also have one of the strongest bite forces relative to body size of any
Oh my
bear,
God.
but probably only because they use teeth to rip through tree bark. There was even one case where a sun bear tiger showdown ended up with both of them becoming past tense, so what could they do to a human? Well, from 2000 to 2010, there were 33 sun bear attacks on humans, with the most common injuries being facial. But all the attacks were accidental encounters where the sun bears would probably argue self-defense. And to my knowledge, there are no recorded cases of a sun bear killing a person. So, with no body count and being the smallest, but also being neurotic enough to be a threat, I'll give the sun bear a Merc rating of 5. Next, you have the Andean, also known as the spectacled bear, for obvious reasons. On paper,
Never
he's
seen
the
that.
biggest land predator in that part of South America. Only technically, because only 5% of Four Eyes' diet is meat. Like the sun bear, they're only really a jihad to fruits and plants. Also like the sun bear, the walking spectacle is very tree climbing, and they'll even build their version of a tree house to sleep in. To be fair, you don't really have a choice when your hall monitor's a jaguar.
True.
But don't think Buddy's sweet because he got glasses. They've been known to take out llamas, cows, and even tapirs twice their size. But how dangerous are they to people? Well, in 2004, an Andean bear escaped from a Berlin zoo and made a beeline for the children's area. What followed was one of the most gruesome displays ever caught on camera. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh god. Oh.
Apparently, the spectacled bear
was on
only
a
has one
bicycle.
human body on his record. And technically, it was a hunter who shot the bear out of a tree only for the bear to land on him. I'm sorry, but if you fail physics that hard, you deserve to get packed up by Paddington. And yes, Paddington was indeed a spectacle. Spectacles are also the closest living relative of, yeah, the short-faced bear. Oh, the duality. But considering the only casualty was more to slapstick than a homicidal bear, I give the spectacled beast a Merc rating of 2. And now we're at the panda portion, which might confuse some since there's a genuine corner of the internet that'll tell you that pandas aren't actually bears. They'll sooner believe China has an obese biracial gerbil waddling around. To be fair, being a bear but identifying as a bamboo processing plant is a questionable life choice. But one, bamboo is so protein packed that Ursus Oreo actually ends up getting just as much as wolves and feral cats. And two, binging bamboo all day means pandas actually have one of the strongest bite forces of any land mammal. Wild pandas usually avoid people, and there's currently no record of a plus-size eyeshadow.
Oh my god,
ball
look at
killing
them
a
in
human.
costumes.
But pandas will 100% lash out if they think you deserve it, often with life-altering consequences. Nobody demonstrated panda potential more than straight at the Beijing Zoo, a young panda named Gugu. In 2006, a drunk dude climbed into the enclosure to give Gugu a hug, and Gugu gave him an attitude adjustment with his teeth. After several minutes of biting each other, yes, Drunky bit the bear. They were eventually separated with a fire hose. In 2007, a teenager tried Gugu and got chunks ripped out of his legs to the point where bones were showing. And in 2009, a father climbed over a barrier to retrieve a toy his son dropped. His reward was his leg caught in Gugu's vice-grip jaws that keepers literally had to pry open. I really think if pandas didn't wear the makeup, y'all would not be trying them like this. The worst part about getting mauled by something so goofy is it probably takes a long time for bystanders to realize you're in trouble. They're the epitome of, I'm not a killer, but don't push me, and for that, they get a Merc rating of 4, because really, if you get flatlined by a panda, you probably deserved it. Now we got the black bear, aka the fight back part of the rhyme, which is kinda true. Black bears are more likely to run away than run a fade, and after seeing them climb trees, thank the natural order for that. Although they probably only learned that from dealing with another bear down the list. Black bears are high-key champion generalists. They're smart enough and adaptable enough to live almost anywhere in America. Also, they're not always black, but that's besides the point. Moonlighting as a giant raccoon means they run into people more than the average bear. And
this
if you look
guy
at the
was
numbers, they might not be as harmless as the nursery rhyme suggests. Since 1784, there have been 66 times where a black bear and a human resulted in one less human. Pretty low, but there's more.
That's not
There's
a
just
lot.
under 12 black bear conflicts a year. 52% are typically defensive, 33% were food motivated, and 15% were predatory. That number is interesting because that's actually higher than what you would see in brown bears. Folks now believe there's a slow but very real rise in predatory male black bears murking people. In fact, the first ever fatal black bear attack in California just happened last month. Male blacks, but black bears that is, they have a wider range, which means a desperate down bad male is more likely to try his luck on a hiker. The last stat I have is 88% of black bear assisted census subtractions were predatory, and 92% of those predatory pastimes were done by males. But when I say slow rise, we are still talking about one person getting clapped a year. Also, apparently none of those casualties carried pepper spray, so if you do that, hike in groups and put food and garbage away, you probably won't get cooked by
Put a
smoking.
bell on your
In
belt.
fact, the majority of black bear encounters end like a Mormon liaison, where neither side gets touched. So, they're flight over fight and statistically harmless. But they live in close proximity with people and are technically more likely to see you as free pizza than grizzlies. So I'll give them a 6.5. 6. Final answer. Not unlike their Asian cousins, and disclaimer, we're getting into the legitimately dangerous territory.
What is
The
that?
Asiatic black bear, also called the moon bear, is the first honest threat to human way of
I've
life.
never seen
They're
this.
way more on sight
That
than
thing's
American
ugly
black
as a
bears, and
bitch.
for that matter, even Eurasian brown bears. To be fair, neither of them have to deal with a certain big cat. Like most bears, they're most dangerous when people run into them and the bear feels cornered, and for that reason, attacks are on the rise. From April 2023 to just November, 212 people caught the wrong end of Asiatic aggression
hell
from a
no,
black bear.
dude.
6
Hell
died,
no.
and food scarcity means those numbers are probably going up. In fact, that's why they're a problem in Japan. You see, in Japan, there's a shift with young people leaving the countryside to go make bread in the big city, and food-feeding bears moving into the now less crowded human neighborhoods. Now, it's never been easier to find problems with an Asian bear, and from 2000 to 2020, 2,357 black bear attacks have been recorded.
That's a lot.
42.4%
Fuck yeah.
suffered severe injury, 1.2% ended up with permanent disability, and 4.8% lost the ability to exist. They're dead. And over 20% of those attacks happened in August, i.e. right around the time they're getting ready to hibernate. There was even a case earlier this year where a man had to negotiate his arm with a Swiss knife after the Asian variety refused to let him go. Since this is the first bear that is a somewhat regular threat to people, I'm gonna give the Asiatic black bear
An
a
8?
7.5. Although with the whole bear bile farming thing, we probably had it coming. And now we get to my honest inspiration for this video.
Ugh.
The brown bear. But honestly,
No.
first I'm gonna clear something up. The grizzly bear is a subspecies of the brown bear. Kind
Okay.
of like how the Arctic wolf is an offshoot of the gray guy. The grizzly is basically a landlocked brown bear. They're further inland, and their grocery list is a lot shorter. Which is why, even though they're the most famous, grizzlies aren't even the biggest bears brown and around. They're smaller than the The Kamchatka bear dwarfs grizzlies, mostly because of the fresh supply of salmon they get from shacking up on the Kamchatka Peninsula, which actually has the highest density of brown bears on the planet. There's
Holy
like
shit.
20,000 of them there. And of course, what y'all know about the Kodiak bear? Named after the Kodiak Islands nature was forced to vault it on. They can outweigh a grizzly by almost 500 pounds, and that's purely off the pescatarian. That is a whole mountain of a bear. Grizzly bears are smaller, but the higher competition and being gate-kept from coastal calories makes them that much more aggressive. Which makes them, and I don't like to curse that much, my mom watches me, but that is a fucking problem. They're like a
Big
predatory
problem.
Thanos. Your demise is inevitable if they greenlight it. They have jaws that can crush a bowling ball. Pause that mean. You're
Oh
a
my
high five away from balling like
God.
Emmanuel Hansel. I've seen them punk entire wolf packs out of food, and they might be the only thing alive that can chokeslam a moose. There's only one video that truly encapsulates how fornicated you are if a grizzly chases you. Well, other than this. Here you have a grizzly running, and way.
Oh, see
Wow,
it.
we're still going. Oh, right there. That's the caribou he's after. Keep in mind, this is the 30-second mark of the video. About 4 minutes was all it took for the seed of Santa to get packed up like a Christmas present and turned into part of the past. But how dangerous are brown bears actually? Since 1784, there have been only 82 fatal
That's
brown
not a
bear
lot.
conflicts in North America. Yellowstone surprisingly only has 8. From 2000 to 2015, there were a recorded 664 brown bear attacks around the world, with 95 flatlines.
Okay.
Of these attacks, 17% involved someone with a dog, 10% were after a bear got shot or trapped, aka the person had it coming, 20% were sudden encounters, and an overwhelming 47% involved a female with a cub, proving that the only thing more dangerous than the bear
Boom. A child. No.
But really,
I
numbers
love
say there's
that
only
meme.
11 brown bear attacks in North America a year, 40 if we're talking worldwide. In fact, the chances of getting murked by a brown bear in Yellowstone are 1 in 2.1 million. I do think bears suffer a lot from shark syndrome, where the attacks might not happen often, but when they do, they're usually graphic enough to go international. At the same time, the worst case scenario scares me more than death itself, so brown bears, specifically grizzly bears, get a Merc rating of 8. Make
Yeah.
that an 8.5. If you know, you know. Now, the
I
sloth
don't
bear is a
know.
great
I
example
don't
of
know.
something I always say. You have to convince a predator you're worth the effort, where prey will off you before you get the chance. Most bears see humans as a fellow predator. The problem is, here you got one that spends most of its life as prey. Sloth bears got tiger trauma in their bloodline. They also get plenty of smoke from leopards, problems from dole packs, and somehow the same elephants and rhinos that are chill-ish around tigers have zero tolerance for the baloos of the world. Add it all up, you get a floppy-faced termite eater that's also one of the most violently aggressive animals on the planet. You basically have a giant honey badger with attitude and all the tools to follow through. It's prey trauma with predatory hardware. They don't really know how to kill, they just inflict as much pain as physically possible. That's why many sloth bear victims end up with their faces torn off, since that's their go-to move against tigers. A trauma bear with
Sloth
chimpanzee
bear?
tendencies means they get a Merc rating of 9. There's no good record of sloth bear attacks on people, but it's the fact that they live on top of and kill more people than other bears that outnumber them. This is technically the most dangerous bear per capita. and it's the one named after a sloth. In fact, one sloth bear was called the man-eater of Mysore after he killed 12 people and severely mauled another 24. In his defense, something like that's pretty rare, and it's believed the bear was injured by people first and then went on a rampage. Not like the last bear, which is one of the few animals to see humans as prey. I'ma kill the suspense right now. The polar bear's a 10. From 1870 to 2014, only 20 people have been killed by polar bears out of 73 attacks, but it's the frequency that's scary. What do I mean? Well, over 60% of attacks happened between 1960 and 2009. 20% happened from 2010 to 2014. That means in this study, 20% of all polar bear attacks happened at less than 3% of the time, and that less than 3% was in the last 4 years. The polar bear is the only bear that classifies as a hypercarnivore, and they'll try anything from walruses to reindeer, and they'll even body a beluga whale. As you know, polar bears are one of the rare animals that'll actively hunt people. It's true what they say. If you see a polar bear in the wild, your expiration date's already stamped. They can smell a seal from almost 20 miles away, so you know when ice bear pulls up, it's no mistake. The Arctic op is such a threat. In Churchill, Manitoba, it's common courtesy to leave car doors unlocked in case someone needs a 4-wheeled panic room from a polar bear. The same place, by the way, that has the Churchill Polar Bear Detention Center. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an air-conditioned temporary holding cell for polar bears that get way too comfortable around people. No other bear is more of a certified homicide once you make eye contact. But they wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for receding sea ice basically stranding a marine mammal on land. And like with black bears, it's a starving, desperate rogue males that are most likely to turn a human into a hashtag. And that's kind of the thing. Every bear on this list would easily put humans at a 10. Like I said, Asiatic black bears are the most common victims of bear bile farms. Sloth bears are often kept as dancing tourist traps, which involves brutal maimings and shoving a rope through their nose. Literally, through it. And despite the memes, humanity has done more to pandas than for them. Also, there's the fact that most bears want nothing to do with you. Literally, one of the best ways to avoid a bear is to actually make noise to give the bear a chance to avoid you. Most bear brutalities come from a bear getting jump scared and making a decision. Also, there's bear spray, but bear spray is a lot like a seatbelt. You don't get into a car expecting to do a barrel roll down I-80, but the same way the seatbelt makes the worst case better, so does bear spray. In fact, you'll probably never use it. Moral of the story? Yeah, honestly, the bear wouldn't even choose us. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you rock with the Merc rating thing, I actually have an entire book on the concept. 100 animals that can, you can read the title. And again, each animal has a rating based on my personal bias. And because today's my birthday, the book will be 52% off on Amazon. If you're interested, the link will be in the description. But other than that, drink water, cherish your parents. Remember, if it's white like a beluga, it's the last time we'll talk to you. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Like, no. Nah. A pizza.
Did that make you feel any better?
I need your sweater.
You've been crying.
I cried a little bit.
Why'd you cry?
Well, it was just so sad seeing that bear with that through his nose.
I mean, maybe he was a punk rocker.
Babe. People are awful. It's disgusting.
No shit.
I know, but it's just like...
But we can't sit here and hyperfixate on that and let it bring you down.
I can't help it.
You got to think about it like this. You just saw a bear get pizza.
Yeah. I think it's really...
And look at sushi.
I know. Cute little babies. I could never. But like those people who, you know, you've seen the documentaries where people are like, this is my baby, and it's like a 600-pound fucking huge bear that could totally rip them apart, and they're like, wow, I love my human, and then until they don't, you know, sometimes that happens.
Oh man, that black bear.
I'm
so glad
that the sloth bear is the highest number. And then he was talking about the bile farms. So like I feel like I have heard about that.
Is that like their anal glands?
Bile is like your gallbladder. Something about, I think that it's like, I could be totally fucking wrong, but it's like medicine, but it's like not medicine.
I know that there's like different aphrodisiacs that people get from weird ass places, and they're like, yeah, but it'll get you rock hard, boy.
I'd rather pay like $100 a pill for man-made abilities to do that if I had to.
Whatever.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
I would rather never do anything ever again than take on some animals, something or another that had to be hunted down. Like, that's, I don't know.
It made sense throughout the video, the way he was describing things as to why I never encountered a bear as a kid.
Because you're loud as fuck.
Loud as fuck.
Yeah. That's what my dad always says, like, just be loud. You play music.
Yeah,
You know,
shit's
we didn't
trying
have
to
the
get away
ability
from
to
you.
do that then, but
And that's most things are trying to get away from you.
yeah.
So, yeah. You okay?
Yeah. I just, like the markets that sell animals and stuff, like, I just don't know how people
Yeah.
can,
It's like when I was doing my live stream last weekend, I went to the mall in Morristown and they had a pet store there, and it was just like puppy mill dogs and puppy mill cats.
when I was
just
little,
like,
I loved going to pet stores. I was so excited because I love animals so much. And then I got older and had the ability to buy animals and would go into a pet store and be like, holy fucking shit, what are you
No
doing?
thanks.
I'm going to rescue this animal. And I did that many times until I figured
did
out that I
rescue some
couldn't
animals.
do that. I mean, I could, but it just didn't make my life better. But
it made our lives really difficult.
it was difficult.
Yeah.
So I just don't go in pet stores now because I just can't. And if we're gonna get an animal, we're gonna do thorough research
and
adopt something that needs, our help.
Yeah.
It's hard enough. We have
So are
2
you trying to
cats
say
and a
that we're
dog.
going to adopt a bear?
No, a pig.
Dude, how awesome would it be to have a bear cub, though? They just seem so sweet.
If I could have any cub, it would not be a bear cub. I've never been like, ooh, I want to, like, I would love to hold that little baby bear. I don't know what. It would be a chimpanzee.
Yeah, a baby chimp.
Like because we've been
Nikki becomes the crazy chimp lady.
we've been on that crazy chimp lady kick recently.
That's very funny.
Foreshadowing.
Those are dangerous as fuck, too. Chimpanzees scare the shit out of me.
Yep.
Every single thing on this list scares the shit out of me. Any kind of big-ass mammal that's super powerful, no fucking thank you.
Oh, if I could have a baby hippo, it would be a baby
Hell
hippo.
no.
A
Absolutely
baby hippo?
not.
They're so cute. If
We
you-
do. We have a baby hippo named Shorty. Anyway, thanks for checking this out with us, guys. We will see you in the next
See you
one.
guys.
Bye.